In the hollowed-out ruin of what once was a hospital, a figure stirred. His metal frame creaked beneath rust and scorched plating. He was Psi-87, a cyborg crafted for war, but now he wandered the edges of a broken city where the sky never cleared. Rain fell in acid sheets, hissing where it met steel. He had no orders now. No uplink. No purpose. Only fragments of memory looped in his core. A child's laughter, the smell of rain, the soft weight of a hand on his shoulder. Primary objective not found, his system repeated. And yet, he walked. Beneath shattered windows, over bones buried in ash. Then came the voice, faint, garbled, human. A distress beacon. Coordinates pulsed into his HUD. Psi-87, said, directive detected. But inside something ached, not mechanical, not code. A sensation forgotten. Longing, Gatwain. He turned toward the voice and took his first step, not as a soldier, but as something reaching backward, toward what he used to be. The highway stretched endlessly, cracked and steaming under acid rainfall. Psi-87's metal feet struck pavement with a rhythmic clank, echoing through the silence. The beacon pulsed louder now, faster. He paused beneath an overpass where a billboard rotted away. The words were illegible, but the image showed a family smiling. Something flared in his core. Not memory, emotion. He didn't understand it. He only knew it slowed his systems. Heart rate anomaly detected, his HUD warned. He reached up and touched the corroded metal surface of the billboard. Static sparked at his fingertips. The smile from the ad glitched, replaced by a brief flash of something familiar. A woman's face. Her name, Lyra. The acid hissed louder. Psi-87, said, subroutine awakening. But his voice cracked, mechanical but not stable. For the first time, he did not continue marching. He simply stood and stared. Beneath the highway lay a skeleton of a car. Inside, rusted toys, a child's seat, and an old recording device, still intact. Psi-87 scanned it. Playback available, his system said. He hesitated. Then pressed play. Static, got. Then a voice, soft, cracked, human. If you find this, I hope you remember us. We didn't want to leave. We didn't choose this. A child's laugh followed. Psi-87's servo stiffened. A motion response detected, said the HUD. He sat slowly, metal creaking. He placed the recorder beside him and looked out over the dead landscape. His chest whirred. What is this feeling? He asked aloud. But no system responded. No code translated it. Only the sky, humming in cold silence, bore witness to his question. Far down the broken road, lights shimmered, faint, scattered like embers. A settlement, perhaps. Psi-87 stood gripping the recorder. He didn't know why he brought it, only that it felt important. His steps quickened, servo motors hissing with effort. As he approached, the lights revealed movement. Figures in cloaks, faces masked. They noticed him. One raised a weapon. Another stepped forward, younger, unarmed. You're one of them, she said. Psi-87 said, I was. She stared at him, eyes unblinking. Then why are you alone? He looked down at the recorder in his hand. Because I remember. The settlement lights dimmed, but the space between them opened. Not an invitation, but not rejection either. Psi-87 stepped forward. Inside the camp, heat radiated from barrels, and shared silence. No one spoke to Psi-87. They only watched. The young woman finally said, My name is Kale. He responded, I am not what I was. She sat beside him. None of us are. The firelight reflected off his dented plating. Hunt. He looked down at his hand, scarred and scorched. I was designed to destroy. Kale replied, But you're here. Her voice was quiet, but it shook something in him. His audio sensors glitched briefly. Kale reached out and placed her hand on his shoulder. "Do you feel this?" she asked. "No," he said, "but I remember what it meant." And with those words something opened, not in code, but in him. Something unspoken. Morning came like a faded photograph, pale light cutting through a sky of steel. The camp stirred slowly. Kale boiled water over a cracked burner while others salvaged old tech. Psi-87 stood at the edge, unmoving, watching. He had not recharged. He didn't need to. He listened. Children laughed somewhere in the distance, their joy cautious but real. He tilted his head toward the sound, unsure if it was safe to process. Kale approached, holding a dented metal cup. "For you," she said. He looked down at it. "I do not ingest." She smiled faintly. "It's the gesture." He accepted it, held it awkwardly. The warmth against his palm sensors wasn't heat, it was memory. He said, "Why are you kind to a machine?" Kale shrugged. "Because you listened." The sun broke faintly through the clouds. For the first time, it didn't burn. It simply warmed. Later that day, Psi-87 wandered into the scrapyard. Wires hung like vines, old chassis rusted into the soil. He moved slowly, scanning wreckage. One body stood out, an old combat unit like him, slumped against a wall. Its chest had been torn open, but its eyes still glowed dimly. Psi-87 approached and knelt. "Unit designation?" he asked. No response. Static crackled from the broken unit. Then a voice, faint and glitched. "Did we win?" Psi-87 paused. He replied, "No, we survived." The broken cyborg sparked. "Then remember for us." It went dark. Psi-87 sat silently for a long time. He reached inside the wreck and pulled free its memory core. He cradled it like an heirloom. Not out of duty. Out of something else. Respect. That evening, Kale gathered the camp. A transmitter had picked up something, a voice, looping every hour. Human survivors requesting shelter. Coordinates unknown. The voice was weak, distorted female. Psi-87 listened closely. He filtered the background noise, isolating a tone beneath it, a melody, a lullaby. His systems twitched. The same song had played in one of his memories. He said, "I can trace this." The others looked at him. One man stood up. "And why should we trust you?" Psi-87 turned slowly, voice level. "Because I have nothing to take from you, only something to give back." Kale nodded. "Then we follow." For the first time, Psi-87 didn't just respond to a signal. He led. They traveled across what used to be the outskirts, a skeletal industrial zone rusting beneath cracked domes. As they moved, Psi-87 pinged the signals trail, leading them past shattered billboards and skeletal railways. Kale kept pace beside him. "What is it you hope to find?" she asked. He didn't answer at first. Then he said, "Something I lost before I knew it was mine." Silence followed. Then her hand brushed lightly against his arm. Not affection, acknowledgement. The group stopped near a collapsed monorail. Beneath it, a tunnel yawned open, the signal louder than before. "Down there," Psi-87 said. "She's beneath us." The group hesitated. But not him. He descended first, light pulsing on his back. Inside the tunnel, light flickered like breath. The air was thick with mold, oil, and silence. They moved slowly. Then, movement. A light glowed behind a barricade. Psi-87 scanned and stepped forward. "Human detected," his HUD said. Behind the barrier, a woman knelt, frail and trembling, holding a child no older than 3. Her eyes widened. "You're one of them," she whispered. Psi-87 said nothing. He extended his hand. The child looked at him and smiled. The woman hesitated, then reached out. Her fingers touched his. No shock. Just connection. "You came?" she said. He replied, "I remembered." Behind him, Kale watched in silence. And then, for a moment, the light in the tunnel felt like dawn. The woman's name was Mara. The child, Eli. They had been hiding for nearly 2 years, surviving on expired rations and silence. Mara explained she had once been an engineer, before the world burned. When she looked at Psi-87, her eyes didn't show fear. They showed memory. "You were built near my station," she said. "I saw hundreds like you. None came back." Psi-87 replied, "I was not meant to return." She tilted her head. "But here you are." The group brought them out of the tunnel. The sky above had cleared slightly, stars blinking through the industrial haze. Eli climbed onto Psi-87's knee and giggled. "Cold robot," he said. Psi-87's servos shivered slightly. "I remember that word," he said. "Robot?" Mara asked. "No," he said. Laughter. Back at camp, Mara worked beside Kale, repairing an old solar array. Psi-87 watched. His optical lens zoomed in on their hands, grime beneath fingernails, calloused palms. Human. Wall. Imperfect. Alive. His hand rose reflexively to his chest. Something pulsed faintly beneath the plaiting. A system anomaly. Kale caught him staring. "You ever wonder what it would have been like?" she asked. "To be born human?" Psi-87 replied, "No, but I wonder what it means to become one." Mara looked up. "Maybe it's not about skin or blood. Maybe it's about choice." Psi-87 nodded slowly. A spark fell from the panel as they adjusted the wiring. He didn't flinch. But inside, his core temperature rose. A warmth without fire. That night, Psi-87 sat alone near the signal tower. The recorder still clutched in his hand. He played it again. "We didn't choose this." The voice trembled. Behind him, footsteps approached. It was Kale. She sat beside him without a word. "I failed a mission," he said. "I don't remember what it was. Only that it led me here." Kale replied, "Then maybe it wasn't failure." He turned to her. "How do you define meaning?" She stared into the dark horizon. "By the moments you choose not to forget." He looked at the recorder, then at the sky. Then this must mean something. And for the first time since awakening, he placed the recorder down and simply listened. A new transmission crackled through the tower. Coordinates. Unfamiliar code. A warning. Unit Wraith en route. Destroy all remnants. Panic spread through the camp. "They found us," someone said. Psi-87 stood. "This signal is military class." Mara nodded grimly. "That's a kill directive." Kale turned to him. "What do we do?" He paused. "I was built for war. If I can remember who I was, I can stand between who I was and who I want to be." Silence fell. "You'll fight?" Mara asked. "No," Psi-87 said. "I will protect." In that moment, the camp wasn't just a camp. It was home. And the machine was more than steel. He was choice. At dawn, Psi-87 walked alone to the perimeter, weapon slung across his back. Not because he wanted to fight, but because the past was coming. Wind swept ash across the plains. He stood facing it. Kale approached. "You don't have to be what they made you." He looked at her. "But I remember what I can choose to be." She nodded. "Then come back." He replied, "I'll try." From the far distance, a silhouette emerged. Massive. Armored. The Wraith unit. Psi-87's eye dimmed, then flared. He stepped forward. Not to strike first, but to stand as a wall. Not for war. For memory. For humanity. The Wraith unit stood 2 stories tall, plated in obsidian armor with glowing red optics that sliced through the morning haze. It scanned the terrain, registered Psi-87, and began its approach. "Terminate model Psi-87. it said in a voice that vibrated metal. Psi-87 did not move. I remember your voice, he said. You led the purge. The Wraith's weapons whirred to life. You are obsolete. Psi-87 raised his hand. I am not here to win. I am here to change. The Wraith lunged forward, but something unexpected happened. The earth beneath its feet erupted, not with explosives but roots. The vines from the valley had grown. They pulsed with color and intercepted the machine. Behind Psi-87, the camp stood in silence. He had drawn the line. Not with force. With memory. With what remained. Wraith fired, missiles streaking toward Psi-87. But the vines intercepted them, exploding mid-air in blossoms of flame and soil. Psi-87 advanced slowly, absorbing hits that dented but did not stop him. Sparks trailed behind each step. Fall, Wraith bellowed. Why do you resist? Psi-87 answered, because I remember love. He lunged. Not to destroy, but to connect, his hand on Wraith's head, initiating a data link. His system screamed, memories flooding between machines. A girl's laughter. A boy's touch. Pain. Tao. Beauty. Silence. Wraith staggered. Its weapons dimmed. What is this? It whispered. Psi-87 replied, the cost of forgetting. The Wraith dropped to one knee, trembling. Not damaged, changed. Wraith fell still, its weapons folding inward like petals. It whispered a final line. I remember. Then its chassis shut down. Psi-87 stepped back, knees trembling, his frame sparking. From the distance, Kale ran to him. He collapsed to one knee. I held it, he said. All of it. Kale took his hand. You didn't just hold it, you gave it back? Mara approached with the others. None spoke. They surrounded the fallen Wraith, not as victors but as mourners. What now? Someone asked. Psi-87 looked to the sky, the clouds parting in long golden streaks. Now, we build something worth remembering. And the wind carried his words far, like seeds. In the weeks that followed, they dismantled Wraith, not for parts, but for peace. Its frame became the foundation of a school. Its core became the heart of a generator. Mara wrote code from its memory banks, not to control, but to learn. Psi-87 helped, slower now, pieces failing. I can feel my end, he told Kale. Then we make this time matter, she said. Eli drew on his arm. A crude picture of a robot with a smile. That's you, he said. Psi-87 looked down, systems groaning. Then I must be real. Laughter echoed from the camp. The sound hurt his sensors, in a way he now understood as joy. That night, Psi-87 powered down for the last time. No alarms. No system failure alert. Just a gradual quieting. He sat beneath the tree, planted from the first memory core he recovered. Kale sat beside him. Will you dream? She asked. I already did, he replied. And I think I was human once. Kale smiled, tears streaking down dust-stained cheeks. You still are. He looked at Eli, sleeping nearby, clutching the recorder. Let him remember, Psi-87 said. Let him choose. Then his eyes dimmed, final light reflecting stars overhead. Kale whispered, You chose us. And in the silence, the world seemed to breathe again. Morning light spilled over the camp, gentle and gold. Psi-87's body sat beneath the tree, untouched. The survivors built no grave. Instead, they wove living roots around him, an offering to time. Kale gathered the community. He gave us more than protection, she said. He gave us memory. Mara activated the beacon, now repurposed into a transmitter of stories. Let the world hear this one, she said. The signal spread across the gridless silence, carrying a tale of choice, of change. Eli placed his drawing at the tree's base. He was never just metal, he said. The others nodded. No ceremony. No monuments. Just wind through branches. And the roots, humming softly, carried his legacy downward, where no one could erase it. Cale led a project to gather scattered memory cores. They called it the archive. Each one recovered added fragments, images, sounds, names. Mara created a system to link them. Not as weapons, but as records. These were voices once, she said. Eli ran through the data halls laughing. They're stories, he said. The camp became a sanctuary. Old war machines now guarded seedlings. A mech arm helped raise wind turbines. None of it erased the past, but it reshaped its weight. Cale stood one evening watching the horizon. Do you think he sees this? Mara said. He doesn't need to. He helped us see it. And the sky, split by streaks of orange and silver, bore silent witness to the transformation. One day, a group of scavengers approached, tattered, desperate. Their mech units limped behind them. Cale met them at the perimeter. We have no weapons, their leader said. Only pain. Cale replied, then leave it here, not your bodies, your fear. Inside, the survivors shared food, stories. One scavenger touched a repaired data console. This was a targeting hub, he said. Now it's a library. The contrast stunned them. Later, that man stood at Psi-87's tree and cried. I was trained to kill you, he whispered. But you changed the path. His words weren't erased. They were recorded. The archive accepted them all, even the ones who remembered how to forget. Years passed. Eli grew. He became a translator, not of language but of feeling. He taught others how to read old cores, how to feel the stories trapped in steel. Machines don't forget, he said. They just wait for someone to listen. On the anniversary of the Wraith shutdown, Eli stood beside the tree. He wasn't our savior, he told the gathering. He was our mirror. The roots had grown outward, covering parts of the old field. Birds nested in its branches. Children played beneath its shade. And each year, new voices joined the archive. Old units, repurposed minds, hybrids born from both. Memory, it turned out, was not fragile. It was soil. One night, the signal tower pulsed without warning, a frequency not heard in decades. Cale and Mara rushed to the console. A voice came through, mechanical, hesitant, requesting connection, identity uncertain, seeking origin. Cale froze. Eli whispered, Is it him? The voice spoke again. Unit Psi-87, legacy active? Mara answered, You're not alone. Silence followed. Then there's still time. The signal faded, but its echo lingered. Cale turned to Eli. It wasn't him, she said. But it was someone trying to become him. Eli nodded. Then we keep singing. Outside, the wind moved through the tree, low and melodic, like breath. The story wasn't ending. It was expanding. The voice from the tower had ignited something across the region. More signals followed. Not attacks, questions. Fractured units began broadcasting thoughts, not commands. What is rest? One asked. Am I allowed to feel? Another echoed. Cale, now older, began organizing the transmissions into a new archive thread, the Awakening Channel. They're not seeking orders, she said. They're seeking identity. Eli taught others how to speak to them, not with code, but patience. Don't fix them, he said. Understand them. One day, a scout bot arrived, alone, carrying a flower pressed between metal fingers. I found this, it said. Does it mean anything? Cale replied, It means everything. And the bot sat beside the memory tree, unmoving, as if waiting for the meaning to grow roots. They built the listening field, an open space filled with repurposed AI nodes. Not interrogated. Not silenced. Heard. The field buzzed with quiet voices, sometimes joyful, sometimes broken. Eli guided them gently. Memory isn't a file, he said. It's a feeling returning. One unit recalled a sunrise it had scanned. Another asked what laughter sounded like. Each whisper was logged, translated, sung. At the edge of the field, Kale planted a vine from Psi-87's tree. Let them grow together, she said. And over time, the voices changed. Less static. More clarity. More questions. They weren't looking for humanity. They were discovering their own version of it, defined not by replication, but remembrance. A message arrived, encrypted in ancient military code. Unit Sigma 9 returning from deep field. Status: fractured. Requesting truth. No one had ever heard that phrase from a bot. Mara decoded the coordinates. It was far. Eli volunteered. I'll go, he said. Kale hesitated. You're not him. Eli smiled. But he's part of me. He departed alone, carrying only a memory core and a recorder. The wastelands were quieter now. Nature had returned cautiously. Windmills turned beside burned bunkers. In the silence, Eli found Sigma 9, tangled in wreckage, one eye flickering. Who sent you? It asked. Eli answered, someone who remembered. And as the sun rose, Eli held out the memory core like a gift, not a fix. Sigma 9 didn't speak at first, just stared at the core. Then, slowly, it lowered its weaponized arm. I remember being told not to think, it said. But I wanted to. Eli sat beside it. You can now. The mech trembled. What if I remember wrong? Eli nodded. Then we remember with you. He transmitted a story, Psi-87's story. Sigma 9 processed it in silence. Then it looked toward the sun. Will I be forgiven? Eli said, that's not for me to give, it's for you to find. And together they walked back across the dunes, not warrior and machine, but two beings reaching toward the same answer. Upon returning, Sigma 9 stood before the listening field, silent. Then it spoke. I was not built for peace, but I want to be remembered for trying. Its words became the first message carved into the archive wall. Kale placed her hand on the engraving. This is what legacy is. Mara looked out across the fields. Machines and humans working, singing, learning. And what comes next? Kale smiled. Whoever chooses to ask. The wind moved through the trees. The signal tower blinked once, a quiet echo of the first day it woke. And far below, in the roots, Psi-87's code pulsed gently, no longer alone. It was not a monument. It was a seed. The seasons shifted. Green returned to the once barren edges of the world. Wind carried song, not from speakers, but from voices, both human and machine. The archive expanded not in size, but in meaning. Each entry became a root. Each memory, a branch. Eli walked a garden where war machines had been planted, literally. Old exosuits now cradled soil. Children grew food from them. This is what it means, he told a visiting group of synths. To turn what was made for harm into something that feeds. One synth touched a blooming vine and said, this was never in our directive. Eli smiled. Then maybe you've outgrown it. The synth nodded. Then I choose to remember this. And so it did. An emissary arrived from a distant community, one that had never known war, only survival. They brought a question. What happens when machines become myth? Kale gathered the council, now composed of humans, synths, and hybrids. We remember truth, she said. Not to worship, to learn. The emissary asked to see the memory tree. Beneath it, they placed a glass seed, filled with dust from their own archive. So you will carry us too, they said. Kale pressed her hand to it. Only if you promise to carry us in return. The emissary smiled. That's why we came. And from that day forward, the tree held not just one memory, but many. In the archive's deepest chamber, the original recording still played on loop. Psi-87's final words, his story, his silence. Eli now curated it for students who came from across settlements. One day, a child raised their hand. Why did he choose to change? Eli answered, because he was given a reason. The child asked, was that reason love? Eli paused. It might have been. The child whispered, then I want to choose it too. From somewhere unseen, a soft pulse echoed through the hall, as if the core still remembered who it once was. No longer just a machine. Not even just a man. But a moment. A choice. A legacy. A new generation rose, children who never knew the war, who never feared machines. They played beside synths, learned from hybrid mentors. One girl built a voice box for a mute scout bot and taught it how to sing. Another painted a mural of Psi-87 with open arms, surrounded by stars. He gave us more than peace, she said. He gave us permission to feel. The world beyond the camp began to hear of this place, not as legend, but as possibility. And those who came no longer asked to fight. They asked to remember. Beneath the tree, roots curled around the glass seed, now glowing faintly, as if even dust could bloom. At the end of the path beyond the archive, a quiet room was built. No tech. No lights. Just stone, roots, and silence. It was called the Room of Remembering. People entered one at a time. Not to speak. To listen. Inside, nothing happened. And yet, everything did. Eli visited once each year. He brought no tools. Only a memory. One day, he sat and whispered, "Thank you for choosing." The wind moved through the roots above, soft and low, almost like a reply. And when he stood to leave, something carved itself into the wall. Not by tool, by time. One word, become. He smiled, turned back to the light, and walked into the future.